Hi, David.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi.
Debbie, do you have a sense of what you guys need from this commission to make whoever needs to feel comfortable?
You know, Christina will we'll talk about it.
All right.
Meeting in that. So.
Hi guys.
Hi, Mark.
How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Things slowing down at all for you?
No.
Sorry.
No, it's one of the stations I manage that I'm a studio manager for is politics. It's political. It's conservative politics.
So
it's coming up on the election, and it's just absolutely bonkers. So it's been busy.
But. Yeah, it's gonna get busier too.
Yeah, but that's okay. It's good to be busy. I've been very lucky with this. I know lots of people that aren't even working, so I'm lucky that I've been as busy as I am these last 6 months. So, how are you doing, David?
I've been better.
I'm sorry.
This is gonna be a fun meeting, buddy.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, hang on.
All right. Well, you know, they got the crosswalk done right down here at the end of Floyd, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right down at the end of the block from me, so I see that one regularly.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's great stuff.
I'm glad we could all do something for the city.
Yeah.
And the people in the community.
That's how I look at it too.
Now, the only person I heard from that sound like would not be able to attend tonight was Tim Vaca. You know, when we had about moving the meeting to this week. So hopefully we should get everybody else. We'll have a quorum.
Cool. You're fine. We haven't even started yet. We haven't started yet. Right now, Lisa's in the kitchen and she's making noise, and she's like, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "We haven't even started yet." She's making dinner, so
Yeah.
That's more important. So
you bet.
Hey.
Hey, David. Hey, Mark. How you doing?
We're great. How you doing?
All right. Christina, we missed you at library board last night.
Yeah, sorry I was on council last night.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything go good with the library board?
Yeah. They had a lot of good feedback about the website and a lot of positive comments. So that was really
Good.
cool. Yeah.
That's good.
Hello, Cheryl. Feel like we've been in the same meetings all day.
Hi, Mark.
Hello.
Hey, Eva.
How's it going? Before we start officially, do you want to see Desmond?
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I have the baby, honey?
Oh, wow, look at that thing.
Hey.
This is Desmond. He just turned 6 months on Monday, I think, or last week.
Wow.
Pretty eyes, Leva.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's
So I'm
adorable.
I'm always, when I see these sort of things, I always think about how much different Desmond's first 6 months have been than almost anyone else's.
I
And
know.
Desmond has seen way more of this screen than people or anything else.
That's very true. All right, you can take him back now. He's cute. Thank you.
So we're waiting for at least one more member, but we still have, oh, there we go.
Can't hear anything.
Hi, Clarice.
Okay. Okay. can see people. But, put that somewhere else.
Let's wait and see if Martin shows up. There you go.
How do I mute that?
Hey, Reese.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Watching TV? Not even watching your dad?
Well, if you guys are ready. Christina, are you starting the meeting off, or how do we, I know Alex is here, so I'm guessing.
Go ahead and follow the
you guys
agenda.
are here to share something with us.
You can just follow the agenda. We'll
Great.
get to it in the features.
Debbie, do you want to throw the agenda up? Is that possible?
Yeah. I'm going to take it to the minutes first.
Okay. Do you want to do a roll? Do you want to do a roll call first, or do you want to take it to the minutes?
Let's do roll call first. So it's 5:48. Chair David Carroll.
Here.
Vice Chair Leah Beth Pohl.
Here.
Reese Adams.
Here.
Clarice Ambler.
Here.
Martin Gilmore is not present. Mark Hessling.
Here.
Julie Parker.
Here.
Councilmember Wink.
Present.
And Councilmember Wink will be leaving the meeting for another meeting at 6 p.m. And excuse, we have Tim Vaca. Staff, we have Christina Underhill.
Present.
Mark Mullis.
Here.
And we have Assistant City Attorney Alex Dorotic.
And I'm here.
Okay.
Great.
All right, thank you.
So the first part on the agenda is we have to approve the minutes. I don't know if everybody's had a chance to review those. Debbie, if you wouldn't mind going down. In those minutes, we made a motion to approve the minutes. We made a motion to approve the Shadows of Sleepy Hollow project. And if you could go a little bit further down. And then we talked about the crosswalks and conservation of public art. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
And Mark will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Okay. And I don't think, do we have any unscheduled public? I don't believe we do.
We do not.
Okay. So do you, Alex, I know why you're here. Do you want to, do we want to jump down to, or do you have the time? Or do we could surely go, I've asked Clarice to present to us the cultural arts survey that we've been working on, some of the results. Are we okay doing that, or I want to be respectful of everybody's time?
I'm fine with whatever, however the commission wants to run. And
if we can do it
so,
earlier,
certainly.
just for me, since I have to run to that police reform task force meeting at 6, it'd be helpful if it doesn't disrupt things too much. But what works for the majority, but I just wanted to say it would certainly be helpful for me.
Okay. All right, so we'll talk about the Shadows of Sleepy Hollow. We were hoping to give an update, but probably what many of you don't know is there have been some concerns over this. At some point, I'd like to share what I think the commission's approach to this is, but I guess Christina or Alex, do you want to share your thoughts first and where we're at?
I'm happy to. And for those of you who don't know me or haven't met me, my name is Alex Dorotic. I'm one of the city attorneys of the city of Inglewood. So I want to sort of begin by giving an overview, and I apologize for this. I'm apologizing in advance because I don't think this was something that was given to the committee, and frankly, probably doesn't exist for a lot of our boards and commissions. But I want to give an overview of sort of the roles, and only because I think there's been some confusion on this, and I think this may clear things up. So all the boards and commissions within the city of Inglewood, with the possible exception of the Water and Sewer Board, serve in an advisory nature. In other words, what their job to do is to give recommendations underneath the city council or staff, so that no board or commission, again, with that very slight exception, has the authority to actually allocate funds. And what that means is that any decision made is, again, advisory in nature. And the reason that that's important, and it is an important way to start off, is that I know there's been sort of, well, a lot of confusion and back and forth about the decision made for the Shadows of Sleepy Hollow. But I think it's important to understand what that decision or recommendation actually means. And so what that decision or recommendation actually means is that this board is recommending to the Parks Department and or the City Council, because the City Council also has the authority to make decisions on any number of things. And so if staff, especially when these become issues that rise to the level of City Council, staff will often go to City Council and say, we'd like your approval on this, even though we're not required to get it. And there's some things that are required and some things that aren't. I don't want to bore you with the details of what is or isn't required, but with an expenditure such as this, it could fall into either staff or City Council. But very importantly, it's a decision based on, or it's a role that no board and commission can play to actually make the decision to expend the funds. It is advisory or sort of a recommendation, if you will. Now, a lot of times, this ends up being what's actually adopted by either the City Council or by a staff member. And the reason for that is that, you know, the boards and commissions end up being sort of the workhorses of the city to look at these things. City Council staff oftentimes don't have time to do that, so they depend on those boards and commissions. So I don't mean to diminish those roles at all, and I hope it doesn't come off that way, but I also want to make sure those roles are clear. And so where the confusion has sort of landed on this is that, does the board and commission have the authority to do this? And if so, is that an issue given that the proposal was, or could be argued was, to the benefit of one of the board and commission members? Now, the other thing I want to clarify is that under the board and commission handbook and under the ethics rules, this was a conflict of interest. That is clear, but that doesn't mean it was an ethical issue. Conflicts of interest mean that someone has an interest in this, but again, that doesn't mean that that's a violation of any ethical norm or means someone did something wrong. With any conflict of interest, three things must happen. The conflict of interest must be disclosed, which this clearly was. The person who has the conflict cannot participate in the discussion or the voting. And having reviewed both of the meetings, that did not happen. Ms. Parker did not involve herself in the voting and in the discussion in any way except to present what she as any other citizen would do. So where we end up with this is, okay, this happened. And now it's to the level where the city council needs to make a decision as to whether or not to approve this. And so the reason I'm here is so that you all understand how that works. And I know that some of you may be thinking, well, wait, this wasn't the way we understood it, or wait, this doesn't appear to be the way it's been done in the past. And that very well could be exactly correct. And I can't speak to what's happened in the past. And sometimes, as a city attorney, you become aware of things. And I apologize. I want to apologize to all of you for sort of this coming out this way, and for if it seems like, well, wait, we didn't understand that was the way it worked. And certainly this isn't meant to cast aspersions on anyone, because again, I took the time to watch both the meetings, and never for a second did I think that anyone was intentionally doing anything wrong or anything underhanded. But there was a lot of confusion as to the role of the board and commission, and the city takes responsibility for that, because you are all citizen volunteers. And I cannot say how important a role that is. And I've served on different boards and commissions where, yeah, you're not paid, you're given sometimes what seems like very little gratitude for what you do. So I do want to take the time to acknowledge that these are really important roles, but also to give you a sense of, okay, this is how a board, this is the responsibilities and the powers of a board and commission. And as the Cultural Arts Commission, as to almost every other board with the City of Inglewood, it's recommended powers, not the power to actually spend money or to bind the city to any sort of agreement or contract. So my understanding, and I cannot say that this absolutely because the agenda hasn't come out, but that the city council will be looking at this in 2 weeks, the next city council meeting, which would be the 21st, I believe. Should be the 21st, yes. And then address the shadows of Sleepy Hollow. And I apologize if that creates any issues with timing. I don't have control over that, but that is the proper procedure. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, well, how does this affect our other ongoing projects that we have? What about the budget that we've been allocated to dispense and use for these projects that we were asked to work on? How does it affect that?
I apologize if it wasn't stated clearly, but if you're given a budget, what should have been explained was, this is a budget that is money that could be spent by CAC, well, I shouldn't say by CAC, but from which CAC can recommend expenditures. And then that has to be approved either by Parks and Rec, Christina Underhill, or by the City Council. For most of the expenditures, it's something that Christina Underhill can make the decision on, but for some it may not be. And that's for the most part, it would be Christina Underhill. I could go through the complete litany of whether or not she can make every decision based on the rules that every director has under our finance department for expenditures. But in general, she can make those decisions. However, in this particular case, because it has risen to the level of City Council has asked to make that decision. So I don't, and I apologize because I was only asked to come into this one issue, so I don't know about any ongoing projects. If they're already approved, if Christina Underhill, the Director of Parks and Recreation, has already approved those expenditures, then it's fine. If it hasn't been, we need to go back and make sure that it is, but I don't know of there being any issues, but maybe there are, and if I hear about them, I can weigh in.
Yeah, and it looks like our current projects that you guys have been working on, there's no issues with those. This one was brought to the attention of City Council because of potential conflict of interest, and that's why it's risen to that level. But the other ones have been fine so far.
So I guess there's two things. One, the process is very unfortunate in that we've talked to many of the people here and we're given kind of a thumbs up, but I realize that has changed. So the question now becomes, what is the procedure that the city needs from this commission to move forward? Can that be explained to us?
At this point, I don't believe the city needs anything from the Cultural Arts Commission. It's a decision to be made by the City Council. So the City Council will make sort of a yay or nay decision, and then it would move forward or not. I don't believe there's any additional information that's been requested. And frankly, I believe that the facts are relatively clear. And as I've said to the few people I've talked to, there's no indication that there was any attempt to violate any conflict of interest rules or any actual violation of those conflict of interest rules. There is clearly a conflict of interest, but there are often conflicts of interest in these sort of situations. It's just a question of whether or not you violated the rules that were there, and then the City Council can make a decision. And the City Council may also decide to change those rules. But until that happens.
Can I ask a question? If it was brought up at City Council, I believe this week, why wasn't a decision made then? Is there a reason that we are postponing it to the 2 weeks out? Because I know we had minutes from the last meeting, and people kind of should have been in the loop on what we were doing. So I'm kind of wondering.
I understand. Oh, I'm sorry. I understand that question. It really becomes a procedural issue in that it wasn't on the agenda for the City Council, and the City Council agendas are sometimes set long in advance. And if it's not an agenda issue, the City Council cannot vote on it.
Okay.
And additionally, when it was discussed yesterday, there was some confusion. That's not the fault of anyone on the City Council. There was some confusion as to what the exact issues were, in that it kind of came up very recently and not with the understanding of all the members of the City Council. And so what the City Council really said is they didn't say, wait, this is a terrible thing. It's we need some more information so we can make the right decision here.
And
which again, I agree is unfortunate.
Yeah. Is it our responsibility to get that on the City Council's agenda, or is it our City Council liaison's responsibility? Just for future planning.
Right. And I'm unsure of the best way to answer that. There does need to be a more specific procedure for that. And as I stated, for most issues, it really comes down to the staff member, given the amount of money that was being expended, can make that decision. But in this particular issue, when the City Council has decided it's something they need to look at, and really they're not looking at it as just this narrow issue. It's in the broader context of, do we want to look at these sort of ethics issues in a broader way? And that's a decision the City Council gets to make. But certainly I wouldn't say there was any failure by any of you volunteers to do anything. It's really sort of something that came up, how should I best say, it just sort of came up without anyone seeing it coming, but in the end, and when these things do, the best decision made is one that's made with all the information and with time to really rationally think about it.
Well, Alex, with all due respect, that doesn't give us much guidance on how to move forward, right? I mean, in each one of these items how do we recommend the items if that's what our role is on every item? I mean, how do we do that? We need some guidance as a commission to understand how to do that. And what you just said is there's no clear definition for that.
Well, no, and I apologize if that was confusing. What you're doing is actually correct. What you're doing is you're recommending expenditures, and then those expenditures go to Director Underhill. She's then the person who's assigned by the city and is an agent of the city to make those decisions. Most of the time, what is historically on these boards and commissions, for Inglewood or for any other city, your recommendations are relatively quickly approved. Sometimes though, and this is sort of a one-off kind of issue, it'll either go to city council or Director Underhill will need more time to really ask questions if she doesn't have all the information she needs. So again, as Director Underhill noted, for all the current projects, you guys made the decision or the recommendation, and I apologize for it, but I keep saying decision, the word is recommendation, and then she followed that recommendation and went forward with those projects.
So, okay, so moving forward, unless does anybody help, what would be can you give us a sense of whether city council will, and what is the time frame? I mean, as we talked about early on August 13th, and I've talked to many in that, knowing that what we were trying to do was create a project for our city and our business community and everybody by October. If you're telling us, I guess what I'm trying to understand is when will the decision be made? Because if you're telling me it's mid-October, that's too late, and we have to move in a different direction. But
the city council next meets on September 21st. This will be an agenda item that's discussed. I cannot bind the city council to make a decision. I would anticipate that they would, but I certainly can't tell you absolutely. Though certainly the city council will be aware of the timeliness of this and then the need for finality on that. So I would anticipate that they would, but I certainly cannot bind them.
Can I just mention, and I appreciate your explanations, Alex, you're doing a very good job at explaining everything very clearly, that it's just very unfortunate that they've had so many city council meetings since our last meeting, and I know agendas get made ahead of time, but that our staff liaison was aware of the conflict of interest before those meetings and that it wasn't discussed prior or on the agenda prior to tonight. I'm not asking a question, just want to state the facts that it's unfortunate that it was out there and that it wasn't put on the agenda, because obviously time is of the essence as it's kind of a thematic October event.
All right. Does anybody have any other comments on this? All right. Well, thank you for your time and the explanations.
Thank you for hearing me out. Thank you for listening. But most importantly, thank you for your service to the city. And I mean that sincerely.
Thank you, Alex.
All right. So, Clarice, do you want to share a little bit about the art survey?
Yes, I have prepared a brief PowerPoint presentation that we will zoom through very, very quickly, but that way you all have something interesting to look at on your screen while I talk about this. It's pretty colors. So Debbie, are you still sharing your screen? Can I have you stop sharing for a moment so I can share mine? Thank you.
You're such a good Zoom host, Clarice.
Oh, thank you. Well, let's see if I can actually share my screen though. That's
okay, never mind.
No, I got it. There it is. Okay. Can you all see that? Yes?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right. So as you all know, we did this survey earlier this year, just kind of measuring cultural arts engagement in our community, as well as to get a kind of a litmus test of what people want to see us do moving forward. So we set this out about 6 months ago, so it's been out in the ether for a while at this point. But the purpose was to measure current engagement as well as perception of the cultural arts community and opportunities in Englewood, and then get an idea of what people want us to prioritize in terms of actionable things that we can do to further promote and grow our cultural arts community. So we did this. We sent this survey out to our mailing lists. We made cards with the survey URL, left them in local restaurants and bars, handed them out at events. And we got a total of 93 responses, which was better than I thought. So our goal was 100, honestly. So we got pretty close. So our first questions were just some really basic kind of like demographics. So the first one was on average, how many art events do you attend per month? You'll see most people were attending 2 or fewer. Very few people attending 4 or more. Oh, you can't see very well what the actual numbers are because, hold on. Can you guys see the percentages at the bottom there?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then most of the people who filled out the survey were just normal people. About 40% were people who are identified as artists, though, in the community or as a part of a cultural arts organization. So we did a series of 7 to what extent do you agree or disagree questions. The first one was, the first statement was, Englewood is serious about supporting the arts. So most people, about 50% of people, agree with that for the most part. And another percentage strongly agree. And basically more than half of the people, about 70% of people agree with that, or 80% of people agree with that to some extent. And then the rest were maybe not so much. So we're actually doing pretty well about the perception that we take cultural arts seriously here. So that's a positive for us. Next one is it important to have arts and cultural offerings in Englewood? Basically, look at that bottom bar. Everyone agrees. Everybody wants to see us have these offerings. It's a priority for our community, and I don't think any of us are surprised by that. The next one, there should be more art events in Englewood. Again, vast majority of people want to see more. They want to see us do more, which makes us a very important fixture of the community since we are such an important part of making those happen. Then this one is an interesting question. We asked, Englewood is seen as a cultural destination. Do you agree or disagree with that? As you can see, it's pretty much straight down the line. No one has a really strong opinion about it other than for the most part, they don't really super agree. It's pretty much straight line with a slight, with a bias towards not agreeing with that. So despite the fact that we seem to like prioritize doing the arts and people want to see them, people don't identify Englewood as being a big proprietor of the arts for some reason, or as not a proprietor, but rather as a cultural arts destination. So there's some sort of disconnect there where yes, we're doing these events. Yes, people think it's important, but we aren't seen as a cultural arts destination. Then we asked if Englewood has opportunities for artists to engage in the cultural arts. And most people agree that there are opportunities. Well, you know what? It's actually pretty much 50%. 50% of people agree that we have opportunities, 50% don't agree. And I could potentially go in and break down if the people who agree or disagree are artists, if they identify with being an artist, because I think that that would be interesting to see if the people who disagree, if maybe those are artists, or if the people who agree, those are artists who are actively engaging. So there seems to be not a very strong opinion one way or the other, honestly. This was another question that kind of didn't really come out to anything. We asked if the diversity of Inglewood is represented by the arts in Inglewood. Most people didn't really have strong feelings about that one way or another. Then we asked, does Inglewood have opportunities for the community to engage in the cultural arts? Yes, overwhelmingly people say, yes, we have those opportunities, which again is interesting. We have the opportunities, people are engaged in the opportunities, but we're not seen as a cultural arts destination. And that kind of leads me to our last question, where we asked people, what priorities would you like to see us put on the map? And people got to pick their top 3 choices. The one that swept everything off the board was they wanted to see us have more festivals, have more activities, and they want to see us establish an arts district. So those were the as well as have more art in public places. So those are the top 3. Have art in public, oh shoot, come back. No, go back. Hold on, there. The first one up here, this blue one, this is establish an arts district, okay? Gosh, dang. And this one right here is have more festivals and events. And then this one is have more art in public places. And those 3, I feel like, are very much connected. It's about creating a cultural center in which activities and public art are on display. So that tells us in terms of our next steps, you know, next actionable steps is maybe really working on establishing that cultural arts district and considering like what makes something a destination, what makes something a district. Do we need more events? People want to see those, maybe we work on that. Do we need more public works out there, sprucing up the spaces? We're working on that right now with crosswalks and murals. Is it a cool name? Do we need a name for our district? Is that going to be what puts it on the map? Is it a marketing issue? So this kind of gives us an idea of where to focus our energies and how we can collaborate to make these priorities come to fruition. So there you go.
Thank you, Clarice.
Good job, Clarice. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions or anything?
Can you go back to the one slide that was showing the breakdown on what?
No, I don't know how to do this. Yeah, hold on. This one right here.
You poor thing.
What's the red stripe at the bottom there? What's that one? Establish artists.
That's establish an artist's work and living space.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
David.
It's like more co-op areas.
Yeah.
David.
David voted all of his top 3 for that one. I guarantee it.
So that was the only thing I was interested in. Thank
okay,
you.
Cool.
Ultimately, I think why we started to do this is because, remember, we were trying to put together a larger arts plan for the city. But I guess I would look to Christina to tell us if that's something that this commission should be doing or if that's out of our realm.
I think this information is really great to have. It's probably a partnership with various entities like community developments. You know, obviously we have events that we can continue to increase. This year's been tough with COVID, but hopefully next year in 2021, we'll see all those festivals and events return so we can meet some of those needs that are identified in the survey. But yeah, I think this information is great, and the input from this commission is really important because it gives staff weight to push some of the events or spaces and so on. So this is good information to have moving forward for sure.
So Christina, do you think it is like worth our time to put together this strategic plan, or should we maybe present something to City Council that's more of like an overarching, these are the reasons or our like goals that are pushing us to make these decisions, a more simplified kind of document in order to give us that documentation that City Council might need?
Yeah, I would say putting the documentation together, partnered with the goals, would help in justification of various programs you all may want to approach in the future. So I think this is, like I said, pretty important. And it kind of went back to what Alex was talking about. The attorney's office is working on cleaning up boards, commissions, guidelines, and what we can and can't do. So everybody's on the same page. going forward. So if council, like in the situation with the puppet show, questions anything, we can revert back to need, potential, or wants of the commission and the public overall to tie that back in. So like I said, I would move forward with this and continue to put the document together so you have it as direction for not only the commission that exists today, but as we move forward with wherever the commission goes in the future as well.
All right.
Thank you.
Quickly, I would like to see, if possible, how the artists and non-artists have weighted their responses, just because in case something is weighted more heavily in one area or another by a particular group, it might help shape the strategy in how we tackle it.
Yeah, and I can absolutely break that data out.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Clarice. Does anybody have any other questions? All right. If Debbie, Clarice, if we could get you to drop yours, and Debbie can put up her agenda. Thank you. All right. So again, we had presented a strategic plan to City Council in 2018. As you know, we were trying to move those items forward. The creative crosswalks and traffic cabinet updates was part of that. What I was hoping to present to you guys today, ultimately what we were trying to do and what we had worked on so hard to get done was to, one, create an ordinance, but also to create a process, trying to work with the city that would allow, like other cities have had, allow any business or organization that wanted to put a crosswalk or do a traffic cabinet, the opportunity to do that. To that end, we got the ordinance passed. We created a application that working with Public Works to try to allow that to happen. At a meeting that I had with Public Works, and what that means to make that happen is to put that out on the city's website or some kind of public site where people that wanted to do that. I know personally there are 3 other businesses that said, that's cool, I would like to do that. What is the process? Unfortunately, right now we're stuck because we don't have a process. Public Works is really kind of uncomfortable with putting it out onto a website, in large part because there's a concern that there would be too many of these creative crosswalks or traffic cabinets being requested. So the suggestion to us, and so I guess I would ask you, Christina, what your recommendation would be, is that people interested in doing these creative crosswalks or traffic boxes would come to Cultural Arts first, and we would try to walk them through a process. What we would need from the city is to at least put that process out on a website so we could direct these businesses and organizations to at least that website, and they can understand the process. In that they have to come here, they have to fill out an application, they have to pay for this themselves. The city is not paying for any of these things. And so
how is that any different from what we had said before?
Well, ideally, I thought, I mean, and other cities have done this. Denver has done this. Castle Rock has done this. Other cities in our vicinity have simply put that out on a website and put the application on the website. they don't want it's my understanding the city does not want the application public.
But we would still have to go through the filtration process of picking the art and saying it's approved or not approved. Do you think that, I just don't want people to be held back. That's kind of why I'm pushing to just have it public. But do you think maybe Public Works would be able to give us like, we can only do so many crosswalks per year or something like that? Like applications for 2020 have closed because we had enough. Maybe that being a stipulation in order to put it publicly, but limit the amount of work from Public Works.
Maybe just an area. We're only going to do it in this vicinity. We're not going to do it all over the place. So these are the limits to the amount.
Well, I think limiting the area kind of limits who then applies.
True.
And it really should be like if a neighborhood wants to do a cute crosswalk for their park and they can all get together the money, then they should be able to apply. That's kind of what we've always said is like whoever can come up with the design, meet the parameters, come up with the money, you should be able to do it because it doesn't seem that hard. But if Public Works is saying it's a lot of work and if we're getting like 40 crosswalks a year or something like that, I understand. But maybe we could get a parameter from them saying how many they would prefer do. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Can I ask what you're concerned about putting on the website? Just the overall potential response might be high. Is that what, or was there another concern they had about putting it out for public?
That the response would be high and it would be a lot of work.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it might be worth our time to reach out to them and say, well, what would be your break-even point on too much work and not, inconveniencing Public Works? Because I understand they have other things to do, but it's obviously something that we've seen the data on that will make the city a more enjoyable place to the residents.
I would also think that the financial impact would curb the influx, if you will, of.
I agree. It's a lot of money. It's like, how much was it, David?
$5,000.
$5,000 or something?
Ours was $3,000.
How much was MOA's?
MOA's was $7,000.
Exactly. So upwards of $7,000 possibly, because I'm sure people are going to want to get fancy. So not just anyone's going to apply. I think Public Works might be a little scared.
If you look at the data, I mean, again, we're just back to doing
all we can do is recommend.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I think if you correctly identify that if Public Works has a limit on how many they can do, then the volume of applications you receive, that just creates work for the commission because you just have to review the applications and select based on that number. So I think that makes sense. That's where you start.
Yeah, David, how about I'll talk to Public Works and kind of vet this a little bit and figure out what they'd be comfortable with, and I'll get back to you on that and let you know where we stand. I think if we can the kibosh on some worries, I don't think you're going to have a huge influx of new applicants just based off of what we know it costs. Not everybody's going to be able to do this. So let me talk to them and then I'll respond back to you so we have next direction, and next meeting we can cover it too.
Okay. So listen, Reese, I don't know, I shared with you some kind of where we were at before.
Yes.
And with and I'd asked Reese to, as she's come on, if there was a project as well that she was interested in, and we shared a little bit about the Swedish horse project. I didn't know if you wanted to talk some more about that. Sure. And we lost Laura, who was kind of with Mark, we're helping to make this happen. But again, it's, we spent a year, Leah Beth and I and Dana walking them through trying to identify spaces trying to work with the city, but I think
We spent a lot of time, and we worked with people that now don't even work with the city anymore.
Yes.
So it's been a process.
Yes. So I've contacted the Art Management and Planning Associates just to kind of shore up the original bid that was from, I don't know, 2 years ago or something, but
yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, I think it has a 2018 date on it, but it was about $10,500, which was, everything from transportation to like some sort of a coding. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Installation, the whole works. I have not been successful in reaching them yet, but I'm persistent.
Who is your contact? I'm sorry to interrupt you, Reese.
Deanna.
So Deanna, it's her and her husband that technically own the company, but Andy at AMPA, if you go to their website, he would be the contact.
Okay.
And he's one of the owners, so.
Okay, great. Thank you. Also, talk to Maria D'Andrea, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Briefly, we're going to have just quick call on Friday to level set, because Leah Beth, as you mentioned, all of this was discussed with her predecessors. So I wanted to just kind of go through the project with her, review the map, and then kind of unfortunately start from ground zero again. Hopefully, because this had been discussed in the past, that maybe the placement is still acceptable, but in 2 years, of course, things have changed and development has, Englewood's developed all over. So want to make sure that those placements still work, but that's kind of where we are. If there's anyone who is interested in taking the next steps after I talk to her, whether that be, walking or driving or cycling the town to see locations, or talking through this anymore, just let me know. I'm happy to include you.
Yeah, I'd still like to help out with that any way that we can. So
yep.
Please include me.
Reese, I can walk with you if you'd like, just to show you where we originally talked about it.
Yep, I have the map, but I think it would be helpful to just walk it, see it.
Yeah.
Sure.
The map, I'm sure, isn't very specific in like the actual place where they were going to go,
It's not that bad of a walk.
Right.
When I did it last in the spring at some point. And I still have one of the horses, so.
Okay.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, it's still
yes.
All right.
Have you been feeding it?
Yeah, and petting it and hanging.
Plexiglass chips and paint.
And using it to hang clothes on.
Oh, nice.
No, I'm kidding. I did have my motorcycle helmet on for a little bit because it was kind of kitsch. But
that's the one we're not going to repaint, right?
No, that's the one that's already decorated, correct.
Okay, so don't mess it up.
No, I won't mess it up.
Yeah, those things are about $1,000 a piece to paint. So, yeah, so that's where we are. Long and short of it.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking that on, Reefs. It's a lot to do. So,
Great.
Thank you.
I never say nay to a project.
All right. Well, I just want to apologize to Julie on this whole project, the Sleepy Hollow project. They've put a lot of work into it. We've talked to, businesses, the city. We've tried to dot all our I's and cross our T's. It's really unfortunate, I will say. And there just wasn't, I don't know, I'll leave it at that. I don't know, Julie, if it even makes sense. As I think about this more, I'm not even sure if it makes sense with the timing to move this forward. And I guess I would like to, we'll ask Julie that, and then I got a question for Christina.
Well, it is very unfortunate. We are in rehearsals now, and I've spent probably 50 hours of my time designing and meeting with people. on this. So, I mean, what is your sense? I don't know, maybe we should chat over coffee or something. But,
Right.
you know, what is your sense about the support we've gotten from other people on this? Is that down the drains as well?
I think we'll have to revisit that.
Okay.
I got to let the rest of the commission know. Here's the unfortunate part: is soon after this meeting happened where we approved it, I got a text from Councilmember Wink that said, "Do you see a perceived conflict of interest?" And I said, "I don't, because I think we followed all the rules." But, and I shared this with Leah Beth soon after, I said, if you want to have another meeting and we can all get together and call a special meeting and talk about it, let's do that.
And I've been waiting for that.
Right.
And now we've had multiple
The
city
response
council
was
meetings.
no, but I need you to talk to but would you be willing to talk to the city attorney about it? And so I said, sure, let's talk. And I talked to Alex, and Alex said to me, I don't see any problem. Unless you hear from me again, move forward. And so I got that. And then last week I got a call from Mayor Olson, who teaches ethics. And I walked her through our perspective of how we saw this. And she said, I don't see any problems with this. And so I guess I would ask Christina or Mark or Debbie, I think what has been presented and how it's been presented is different than how we see it and how we perceive it. And so how do we get that message to city council? Do we just call each one of them and share a message? Or how does that get done?
That's exactly what I was planning on doing. I know Othoniel. He is my city council rep from my district. I was going to reach out to him probably right after this and say that this is how the council looked at it. And it really needs to be conveyed to the rest of the city council from our perspective that this is how it was presented to us. And this is how we all agreed we should move forward with it. And it wasn't a push from an individual or anything along those lines. So I think that that's what definitely needs to happen. I was also going to call Linda Olson because I know her, you know, and say, this is not what the council was trying to do. So there's no reason that it shouldn't get approved and shouldn't get pushed forward. The big question is can you guys wait until the city council approves it? Or do you need to have a line drawn in the sand now that says yes or no?
Yeah, Julie, do you have like a deadline? Or, I mean, obviously you've already put work into it.
We're already in rehearsals. We're already doing the stuff. And I guess I would like to, I mean, I don't know if this is the right place, but I'd like to say that I don't think the way it's been presented is accurate either. My financial gain, quote unquote, from this thing, like I'm going to be paying to do the work, you know, like of that $8,000 budget, the most I was ever going to get was $500. And like I said, I've put over 50 hours of my own time in. You know, my hourly rate at this point is like nothing. So I'm not doing this. And I told David as soon as this issue came up, like, I am happy to donate whatever money that I was going to get in that budget to the other artists, because it's not about the money. It's about, I want to see this project go forward. I think it's really cool. And everybody who I've talked to, from the business owners to Inglewood residents to people all over Denver, are super excited because it's something different and it's something exciting. It's something that, you know, is bringing something to people in this time with COVID where you can't go see a theatrical production. Like, people are really, really excited about it. So I have no interest in the financial side of it at all. My interest is in the art. And, you know, I just want to make sure that am I going to be asked to speak at the city council? You know, am I going to be able to present my side of it, or is it, you know, already said and done? I don't know how these things work. I just wanted to bring something creative to Inglewood, you know, and so I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional, but.
It's understandable, Julie. It was a really large project and you've put in all this time, and I've been on the commission for 3 years and have never in the past had this issue come up. Now, I understand there has never in the past been a conflict of interest, but I honestly don't think $500 should be our limitation factor here. I think it's the fact that we're spending $8,000 that they really want us to more like recommend and have them approve because it is such a large purchase. But in all my time here, I have not ever experienced them having so much kickback.
David, correct me if I'm wrong. The money that we were spending on this was money allocated for the block party, which isn't happening anyway.
Yeah,
right?
but Alec, as the attorney said, while it is our budget, it's our budget to recommend things with. So it's technically not our money. And so that's where they have a leg to stand on.
Right. And as you know, we requested to meet with council to share all of this, and then we were told that after we were taken off the agenda at that point, we could have approved some of that. But
we were on the agenda?
We were on the agenda at one point, Debbie, if you can, but we had asked to present where we were at to council. It was about
like budgetary or for the puppet?
The whole, no, not just the puppet, but the whole thing. Gosh, it was maybe 6 months ago or something to kind of lay out where we were at. But I guess I would ask either Christina or you know, is there an opportunity? If there's not, that's all right. But is there an opportunity for this commission to share a different story that's been, we've all seen the city council meetings. I've got tons of emails that I can share with everybody that what is being said is not the way we have represented it.
Well, as you know, these meetings are recorded, so they are public, they are posted. And I do know that they are under review. Both the attorney's office have rewatched these meetings to see the procedure. And like Alex said, he didn't believe there was any wrongdoing in how everything was presented. So now it's up to council to be educated, to understand the situation. I think Mark nailed it, and you too, David, and just sharing information, educating the process, so they understand moving forward, because this was just brought to them, I believe, last night during the council meeting. And that's where the concern came up, was the potential conflict of interest without having a lot of information to go with it.
It's just unfortunate it wasn't brought up till last night. I mean, that email or text from Cheryl was from August 10th, and they've had how many city council meetings since then? Yeah,
we'll just have to respectfully disagree on that. I mean, how this was handled. All right, does the staff have anything for good of the order?
I have just one thing. We are in the process of renovating Romans Park, and behind me you see the Romans Park mushroom. There's 6 of them at the park. Staff hired a contractor to do some repairs to these mushrooms, but just to put it on the table for 2021 potential projects the Art Commission may want to look at would be the mushrooms, in hiring an artist or commissioning an artist to do something fun with them to make them more attractive, because that's what they look like right now. They're just gray and no life. So just wanted to present that again. There's 6 of them. This would be something for 2021. We're currently doing some renovations at the park. New tennis courts, new playgrounds are going to be installed, and a new bathroom facility, new walking paths. So the park's getting renovated currently. So this would be kind of a nice addition in 2021 if y'all want to take another look at it and maybe put it on the list for next year to look at doing something fun with those mushrooms. That's all I've got.
What are those mushrooms made out of?
I believe they're concrete. I don't.
Oh, wow.
They're made out of cement.
Dang.
They're like a 1950s relic.
Yeah.
They're kind of beloved in their current state too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like I said, look at them. If you're by Romans Park ever, stop by and just see what potential could be, if there's any vision for what they could be. Or if you think they should be left alone, we'll take that advice as well.
Out of curiosity, are they located within Any electricity?
That's a good question. I'll have to look and see. I don't think so.
Oh, do you want to light them up?
Yeah, I want to light those papers up.
That's
Hey, with
nice.
solar
like
these
that.
days, you can do a lot of stuff too. So that could be a consideration.
That's true.
Yeah. So yeah, take a look at them and just we'll put it on the radar for now, but it could be a fun project for 2021.
Great. Mark?
No, I don't have anything other than to say I'm apologize for the challenges from these that presented in this meeting, and just that it's a real priority for us to maintain good relationship here and to be able to be advocates, collaboratively advocating for arts in the community. So sorry about this.
Thank you.
Debbie?
I don't have anything.
All right. I'll just go up for Commissioner Clarice. You have anything you want to announce?
Nope.
No. Reese?
Nothing.
Really? No. Leah Beth?
No, I'm sorry. Am I on
sorry.
mute? No. Yeah, no, I have nothing else.
Leah Beth?
No.
Mark?
Other than I'm going to be speaking with my council rep about all of this in the near future, and I suggest everybody reaches out to theirs as well.
Great.
Thanks, Mark. Will do.
All right. Thanks. I don't know what the time is. 6:46. We'll adjourn. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.